Welcome in, guys, to the Dual Sense podcast, a weekly PlayStation podcast co-hosted by myself, Jason, aka Smoky Trout, and I'm joined by Travis, my co-host, aka Booger Sugar.
Howdy, folks.
So, Travis, we are not new to the podcasting world. We previously took a dive into the podcasting world on a basketball podcast. So,
Yes, sir.
to use a gaming euphemism, I'd say we're not beginner difficulty. We're probably easy difficulty when it comes to podcasting.
Yeah.
But
this is our sequel.
This is our sequel. Yeah. It's easier for us to do a video game podcast though, because that's more in our wheelhouse. It's something that we do pretty much every day. And it's also hard to do a basketball podcast when there's a pandemic and nobody's playing basketball. So,
hey, we could make up crazy stories about like how good Gerald Green was when he was really average.
We could, but we don't. So we decided to do something a little different, go in a different direction, and dive into a new podcast on a subject that we both have grown up doing, which is playing PlayStation games on PlayStation consoles. So.
At least 25 years of experience, 50 years between the both of us.
That's right. You're level 20. You're level 25. I'm level 25. So let's just. I guess it's probably good to set the table for the folks listening as far as what consoles that we own and what genres of games that we play on PlayStation. So why don't you let the folks know what PlayStation consoles you have and what types of games that you like to play.
I've literally had every PlayStation except for the Vita. I had the PSP, PS1, 2, 3, and 4. Most of the games I play are I like FPS. I do sim race with GT Sport and Assetto Corsa. And then after that, I just play pretty much whatever co-op games the boys are playing.
Perfect. You know the boys love to play co-op games. So I have also, like Travis, played PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4 now, and I do own a PlayStation Vita. Vita means life. Neither Travis or I play PlayStation VR, so we can't really speak to that. But
I've tried VR, and it makes me nauseous, so it's not worth the financial investment to me.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to race your car and also throw up in it on GT Sport.
God, it's terrible.
So I understand that totally. So we've as far as genres of games that I play, I would say that I'm a much bigger nerd than you when it comes to video games in terms of the genres that I play. Would you agree?
100%.
Okay. So I think that's good though, because you're not a filthy casual, but you skew casual. I'm a little bit more of a hardcore guy. I play, action adventure games, shooters, sports games, obviously, open world RPGs. I love simulation and strategy games like Frostpunk and Surviving Mars and things like that. So the only genre that I really don't play are Japanese RPGs because I think those are terrible.
Yeah.
And they're way over my head, and
I don't get them.
Yeah,
it's too much for me.
It's way too much camp for me. It's way too campy. I can't do it. So if that's you, cool. You can be a gigantic nerd. It's all good, but it's not for me, and I definitely don't think it's for Travis. So
no. And the thing about games like Surviving Mars and all those other like Skyrim and whatever else, I can't think of them all. It's not that I don't like them. I like the idea of them a lot, and I typically really like the way that you can customize your character. I like the depth of them. I like the artistic appearance of them all. And I really admire that you could take an idea like that and make it so in depth. I can see how it's all encompassing, but it's just not, I don't have whatever gene in your brain is that I can sit there and do that for 100 hours. It doesn't work. I played Red Dead Redemption, both of them all the way through, and I had 100 or whatever I had in those. I don't even know how many hours I had in those. But it's different to me. Like, that's a completely different thing than Skyrim.
Right. Yeah, I totally get it. it's a commitment for sure, and a lot of it is what it is. It's role playing, it's world building, and all this stuff. So, but can you touch a little bit on your gigantic part of you haven't mentioned this yet. You need to tell the people this is that you part of the reason you don't like bigger open world kind of fantasy games too, or post apocalyptic stuff and so on, is that you don't like to be scared in video games.
No, I can't stand it.
The bugs in Fallout
Nope.
4 terrified you, or
Yes.
Fallout 76.
And the worst part was, it's not even with, if we had like the 3D audio that the PS5 has, I probably would have peed myself. I can't do it.
I'll never forget the first time that we played Fallout 76. And the first bug that popped out of the ground, you literally screamed in my headset. And I never laughed so hard playing a video game.
It was a visceral reaction. Like, I had goosebumps and cold chills and my shoulders tensed up. It was like, I screamed like a child, like a schoolgirl.
So we set the table. People know where we stand on our games, how we play them, what we like to play. Why don't you talk about what games you've been playing this past week?
Well, we've just gotten into Dying Light, and I don't like being scared, but for some reason that game doesn't. It's not like a fright game, if that makes sense. The zombie genre doesn't necessarily bother me. Like, I like Dead Rising a lot, but what am I trying to say? Dying Light.
What else have you played this week?
Thank you. We've also been doing NHL, the Chell version 3-on-3s, which we are awful at. But it is a blast. It's kind of like FIFA and how difficult it is. It's so rewarding when you actually manage to beat another group of people. And shout out to EA Access for finally giving us both of those games. And like any normal, boring gamer in their late 20s, we've been playing a lot of COD.
Oh, yeah. Anything else you've been playing this week, or is that it?
Yeah, that's about it this week. Nothing too crazy. Just like I said, Dying Light is the new addition this week, and it's been an adventure.
For sure. So I've also been playing Dying Light with Travis and a couple of the boys, as he said. It's a great game. I played it originally when it came out, beat it then, but obviously it's got the remaster, or not the remaster, but the enhanced package, or whatever you want to call it, with all the DLC and everything on PS4 now. So we're kind of going back into it to get ready for Dying Light 2. And that's been fun. It's just, the parkour is really cool on that game, and it's really kinetic. It's just fun.
Yeah, the mechanics of the game are really cool. That's what I like. Like, when you're parkouring, it's not arcadey at all. I mean, in a sense it is, because there's no way you can parkour like that.
You're right.
But it's very fluid. It doesn't feel clunky at all, and it's the most fun to drop kick a zombie.
It is. It's hilarious every time to see your friend drop kick one too, because they just go flying. So I've also been playing NBA 2K20 just a little bit, kind of fading away from that a little bit because the new one will be out in a few months. We've been playing Modern Warfare, of course, multiplayer pretty much. I play Red Dead Online every day because I'm one of those people that is a clown, basically, sitting around waiting for a new update from Rockstar.
It's never coming.
For Red Dead Online. It's been 6 months, so that's cool.
Yeah, there's just going all to GTA 5.
Yeah, it's great. It's tickled me to death whenever they had the GTA 5 lead off the PlayStation press conference. That's cool, guys. Can we get to work on a Red Dead update? So I play Red Dead every day. That's my favorite game. And we also have played a little bit of NHL with you guys, the world of Chell. We've gone to Chell. And
we're in Chell.
we're in Chell on there because we're terrible. And also, the new edition. I had to write this into the script here. This morning, I started playing The Last of Us Part 2, and
sick.
I can already tell you that it's going to be an incredible game. It's just Naughty Dog is on another level with
everything.
It's like literally Naughty Dog and Rockstar, and then everybody else.
Oh, 100%.
And just, I'm only a couple of hours in, but the game design and the animation and just the systems and mechanics is just at another level, and it's outside of the graphics of it, because obviously those will be better on PS5.
Hmm.
This is probably like a triple A. Like if PS5 is Major League, like The Last of Us Part Two is probably triple A, because it's got to be pretty close to what a next gen game is going to be
It's
like.
it's everything you can get out of the PS4.
Yeah, they're milking it big time. So it's just like they did with the original Last of Us at the end of the PS3. So
And that might be what it takes for me to play a game, certain genres I don't typically play, like The Last of Us or even call it open world Red Dead type game. It has to be like a Scorsese level game of it's not just the way it's made, but the story has to be there too.
yeah, it's just so good, and it's just those games like Red Dead Redemption 2 and now this game, The Last of Us Part Two, like there's something about them. They just play different. It's like
Yeah,
they're just better at making games than other people. Like I don't know how to explain it, but just the things that you can do in the game and how it plays and how the AI is and how the physics are. It just I don't know. It just impresses you. You know, every so often you just get more impressed with it. So excited to play that. But I've heard it's a pretty long game. You know, it's like a 30-hour game, so it'll probably take me all the way to Ghost of Tsushima, which I think we're both interested in.
yep.
But I think that's it for what we're playing this week. Let's get into the news. So for our inaugural episode, we wanted to do something just kind of big and unique. And obviously, the biggest news lately with PlayStation is that the PlayStation 5 was revealed. And so we're going to dedicate this entire episode basically to looking at what they revealed, talking about it, and just kind of giving our take on it. So with that said, we'll take a look at the PS5 games that were revealed at the event first. And the first list that we've got here are the exclusive games to the console that I've got listed out here. So the first game, and I kind of went from biggest to smallest. The first game is Horizon 2 Forbidden West. We now know that it's coming out in 2021. They gave us a trailer for that game. It looks insane. The first one was one of probably my top 10 games. It's awesome. It's an open world action game, so that's not really your wheelhouse, but I did play it. If you haven't played it, you need to.
Are there bugs?
No, there's just robotic. I would say robotic dinosaurs.
Okay.
Yeah, no bugs. And so, what did you think? I know you're not necessarily interested in Horizon Forbidden West, but the trailer, what we saw, what did you think about it?
Well, I kept wanting to call it Horizon 2 A Fireball Goes West, which I think would be an incredible mashup for some fan art.
Yes.
And then you'll hear me say this on a lot of these games, but it goes. I just like the way it looks like, and that too looks like one of those games like we just talked about, where the gameplay and the story probably is just as important into your overall experience as what it looks like. And when I was a kid, I always thought like, well, by the time we get to the PlayStation 5, like it'll look like a human's on the screen. That's how realistic it will be. And it took me a while to realize that like even the arcade games can look cool and detailed in a way I didn't expect. I almost like games that are artistically designed like this more than I like maybe an NBA simulation that actually is modeled after a human. I just think the textures and the way things flow are way cooler than I expected. And then, again, I didn't play the first one, so I can't really speak to that. But it's not really on my list, but I can understand why you'd play it.
Yeah, it's a cool. One of the cool things about it is it's a relatively new IP from Sony, and it's this. The concept of it is that it's set in the United States, and it's post-apocalyptic. It's after the humans have basically created these machines, and of course, nobody's watched Terminator, so we let them take over. We let them take over like we always do, and they basically populate the world. And it's a system of AIs and these different things. It's just a cool, like sci-fi kind of post-apocalyptic setting, and they're moving further west in this one, so it's going to be like on the West Coast. I think San Francisco is going to be part of it. So it's just a cool setting and cool design, and a cool IP altogether. So I'm excited.
It's a
about
game
that.
it's a game that I'll watch gameplay on, and like I would rather people just tell me what happens.
Yes, you'll watch the PlayStation Access
I'm like,
video
yeah, that's
about the
cool.
story.
That's awesome. All right, cool.
I was really hoping that this would be a launch game, but it's
Yeah,
not. It's going to be next year, so
that's
probably
okay
next.
though.
Yeah, probably next holiday would be my guess. It'll be the big holiday game next year. The next game is Spider-Man Miles Morales, and it is going to be a launch game.
Sick.
Yeah, it is going to be a launch game. It sounds like. So it did say holiday 2020, and we got a trailer. Didn't look like any gameplay. It was just straight trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And what we do know now is that it is an expansion from the original Spider-Man game. So
Yeah,
it's kind of along the lines of that Uncharted Lost Legacy standalone game that they did.
exactly.
There was like an 8 to 10 hour thing. That was pretty cool. So that's exciting. It's basically its own game, kind of a miniature version of Spider-Man.
Yeah, I like what they're doing that though. It kind of gives you a glimpse into what they're going to do with the, at least maybe style wise or depth wise, what they could do with the Peter Parker line storyline.
Yeah, and they're definitely they've got to be working on Spider-Man 2.
Oh
So
yeah,
that this is probably, and they have come out and said that the Miles Morales game is it's going to be made for the PS5. It's going to use all of the features of it, the DualSense, the loading, and everything. So that's cool. So
yeah.
we'll get to see kind of what the Spider-Man world, how it handles the PlayStation 5. So
And even if it's a 10-hour game, somebody like you is going to spend double that in the photo mode.
absolutely, absolutely, it's going to be sick. So that comes out this holiday, probably a launch game. The next game is Gran Turismo 7, which I know you're excited about.
Let's
And
go.
they did not give us a release date for that game. But I can't help but think that it's going to be a launch game because I feel like every time a new console launches, it has a racing game, right?
Yeah.
And so what we saw a pretty extensive gameplay, and we also got to see the user interface overview for the game. So
Hmm.
obviously this is kind of your wheelhouse. So talk to me about what you saw.
Well, as far as the tracks go, the video is Dragon Trail, which is one of the original sort of legendary tracks that isn't on GT Sport. It's kind of a cult following, if you will. It's not a real track, but and that's another aspect of what Gran Turismo does. They have these tracks that they custom build, and I don't know how they necessarily come up with them or how they do them, but a lot of times their custom tracks are a million times more fun to drive than the real track, like the Red Bull Ring. It's like, all right, I get it. But a track like Dragon Trail has so much different. It's so technical. That's what makes it kind of interesting. The cars that you see in the trailer are all on GT Sport. There's no change there. They even have the same liveries. The only really interesting thing that you see in the video is most of those cars in those videos are GR3 cars, which is part of the manufacturer's racing league that you can do. But you see if I remember correctly, it's a Ford GT40 or it's the Porsche. I can't remember which one it is. Now I'm blanking on it, but it's with those cars, which insinuates that you will be able to buy a car from your garage and tune it to the point where you can race any car you want theoretically with those GR3 cars or GR4 cars, which would be awesome. Because a lot of times when they do their daily races, they'll have 3 a week, and they'll be categorized, and you'll be like, you have to use an N200, and that's like it only has so much horsepower, or so much brake balance, or whatever. The fact that you can be able to buy your own car, let's say you really like the way the Corvette feels, but it's not powerful enough to do the GR2 class. Well, now you can go into the garage, which they show you on the trailer. You can go into the garage, and you can buy a bunch of stuff and make it at that level now. You can change the BOP, which is the balance of power, which they do now. And there's a lot of controversy about the balance of power, but they do that now. So that part's cool. But they're also returning to kind of the roots. So you got more of a single-player campaign mode, which is awesome. That'll give them more players. You can do everything from change your tires on your car. You can wash it. You can change your oil. All that fun stuff that you do on the original Gran Turismos that we remember from PS2 and 3. So it's kind of returning to the roots, but it's also keeping some of these competitive esport things. It's kind of dovetailing them both together. So it should be pretty awesome. And I know that the sim racing community is kind of excited about it. As long as they fix the penalty system, everybody will be excited.
What do you think about the idea of Gran Turismo as a platform? So meaning that you just had Gran Turismo was a game, and it would, you could pay yearly for an update, and you'd get, new tracks or new cars or, probably a couple new features or whatever. Like, you didn't have to buy a new Gran Turismo every 3 or 4 years or whatever. Like, it was a platform, it was a live service. You just paid for a yearly update, and, you went with it. What would you think about that?
Well, iRacing does that now, and it's a really, really, really good model. And they update their game regularly, and you pay for each additional car and each additional track, which could be kind of frustrating and expensive, especially at first. So from that perspective, they do have a model to go after, but I'm not sure how receptive because that's a PC game. I'm not sure how receptive the console community would be to that.
Sure.
And they might be able to squeeze more money out of it by doing a game every 5 years. If that's their intent, they want to do an overhaul. That makes sense. But if I'm doing esports, it would be nice for it to be a platform, because every time there's a new game, you have to relearn how to drive the cars. So even if it's, like Assetto Corsa or Project Cars 2 that are more simulation-based racers, all the cars drive different on those games. You can get the same car in the same track. The track will look a little different. The car will handle different. It's just how it is. So if you give me a new game every so often, that can be challenging to learn, kind of have to relearn the curve. If it's a platform, once I have the car, I know what I have. So from that perspective as a sim racer, that's nice. But if you get a new game, I'm getting one every few years, it needs to be a big step up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And people
So
are going to expect that.
Yeah, so if you're going to do the platform thing, yeah, that could be cool. Like, I think sports games could be platform games, at least every other year. They don't have to give me a new Madden every year. They could probably get away with every 3 years, but they make so much money off it that'll probably never happen.
Yeah, that's the catch. The sports games, I think, make sense as a platform or a live service, but they're going to sell 15 or 20 million copies of Madden every year. Same thing with FIFA. Like, if at $60, maybe 70 on the next gen, and they just, they're going to do it. So,
Yeah,
but we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see if GT7 is a launch game. I have a suspicion that it is, and that we'll find out in August at the State of Play stream that they're going to do. But we'll see.
yeah, for sure.
We also got to take a look at Demon Souls, a remake of the original Demon Souls game that came out on PS3. And this is a remake by Bluepoint Games, and I think they're also working with Sony's Japan studio. So Bluepoint Games are the guys who do all these remakes and of games that have been coming out, and they're kind of the best known remake studio, so to speak. And so the trailer for this one, we didn't see any gameplay. We just got a trailer. We did not get a release date. And I gotta say, first of all, I do not like this genre of games. The Soulsborne genre is not for me. With that said, I did play Demon Souls on PS3. I did not get very far. I did get past the first boss fight. And there is something about this game in particular that I am interested in possibly playing it when it comes out, because it was so good, and it's obviously ridiculously challenging, but it is also ridiculously satisfying. And
Correct.
the overhaul that they've done on this game looks incredible, so it does have me a little bit interested. I thought that looked cool. What do you think about that game?
It does look really cool, but I'm not about that life. That's the type of game that will freak me out, and then I'll probably break my controller when I can't beat a boss. So I'll just skip over it.
I was going to say, you have a tendency to break controllers or frisbee your disc across the room, so you probably want to avoid Demon Souls.
Yeah, I threw Call of Duty across the apartment into the refrigerator in college.
Well, we also got to see Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which I'm not a Ratchet and Clank guy. I've never played a Ratchet and Clank game, but this game, we got extensive gameplay. We did not get a release date on this one, but the gameplay demo that they showed us was incredible. Like, as far as the mechanics and the graphics and the thing that they're trying to do with jumping between worlds simultaneously, because
they were just showing off.
Yeah, they were absolutely showing off, and I'm actually pretty interested in playing this when it comes out, because of the fact that just how next gen that it looks. So
Yeah,
it just looks cool.
I definitely want to play it to see kind of get the next gen feel on it. I feel like that's one of the games that I guess it's technically not a launch game. I wish it was. Is it? It's not official, is it?
No, they have not. They have no release date on that, and I would
Hmm.
say because the same studio that makes Ratchet and Clank, Insomniac, makes Spider Man, so it'll probably be 2021 on Ratchet and Clank.
That's true, but like anything though, some the launch games don't necessarily always give you everything from the console. I mean, remember the Order 1886? It didn't
Yeah,
really. Yeah, I loved the way it looked, and I loved steampunk stuff, so I thought it was really cool. But you know, that would be a nice 2021 jump into seeing if we can make the PS5 sound like it's a jet.
that's going to be a true test. They say it's going to be much quieter, but we'll see. They also Sony also gave us a look at a second party game from Housemarque Studio called Returnal, which is we didn't get a release date. We got a trailer, we got some gameplay, and it looks to be a third person shooter roguelike game where when you die you start over. The day repeats itself and the world changes and so on. So it actually looked cool. The graphics looked cool.
Hmm.
Housemarque is one of those studios where I'll pretty much try anything they make. They made Dead Nation. They made Resogun and Next Machina, which is one of my favorite games. They
They made
just
Alien Nation.
Alien Nation, yeah, just all these arcadey like top down games that are
They're fun.
a lot of fun. And so this is a complete change of pace for them as far as what they normally do. This is a true third
Oh yeah.
person, over the shoulder type of action game. So I'm excited to see what they can do with something different. And I'm no, again, no release date, so it's hard to say when that game's coming out. So what do you think about Returnal? Is it something you might try or no?
Yeah, and part of it is because every game that I've played of theirs I've enjoyed. Um, we had a lot of fun on Dead Nation.
Yes.
Um, and Resogun is a classic, I think, for most people. That a little indie game you can play. It's kind of a blast. But um, I don't know. When I was watching, I kept thinking that they watched Edge of Tomorrow, and then thought, let's make a game, but instead of Tom Cruise, let's put in Amy Adams from Arrival.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get past that. The whole trailer, I just kept thinking like, this is super weird. And I even had to ask you like, I don't know what is going on. Like, how do you beat the game? I didn't understand the
You
idea of it.
did.
But I like getting to relive it. But if the when you come down to the island, it seems like it changes every time. So it's
Yeah.
almost like you're not reliving the same day in a way. But it's a cool idea. I think we at least owe it to them to give it a shot since they've given us so much other good stuff. You support them.
So we also got to see Sackboy: A Big Adventure. Sackboy, what a name! Sackboy is a character from the Little Big Planet games, and we did not get a release date for this game. We did get it was pretty much all gameplay.
Yeah,
It looks like a 3D platformer, kind of like Super Mario 3D World, 3D Mario stuff. So they're trying to hit those kind of notes with that game. I This isn't a game for me. I don't think it's a game for you.
no,
But they got to have these types of games at launch too, because there are all kinds of different demographics play games. There will be kids who have PlayStation 5s, and um, there will be there are people who like 3D platformers and people who like Little Big Planet. So that's fine.
yeah,
But it's not a game for me. But any thoughts on Sackboy?
yeah. And then not to jump ahead, but it's just kind of the same with Astro's Playroom for me. It's like these games kind of make me feel uh, comfortable that they exist, if that makes sense. And if PlayStation stops making these games, something's very wrong.
Yes.
So I'm cool with it. I get it. But and going back to what I've said about some other games, so it does look cool. Like it's a cool art design.
Yes, it is. And I have played some of the Little Big Planet games. They're cool. You can co-op them and play with friends, and they're neat. They're neat games. They are kind of side-scrolling platformers, the Little Big Planet games. So, but just don't know if it's for me or not. We also got to see a game called Destruction All Stars. which we did not get a release date for. We got a trailer with gameplay mixed in, and this game looks like Rocket League meets Twisted Metal meets like roller derby or something like
Yeah.
that. And I gotta say, I'm pretty excited about this game.
Oh yeah.
I'm really hoping this is a launch game because the gameplay looked cool, the destruction on the cars looked really cool, and it just the kind of the vehicular combat and stuff looked really neat. And so I'm hoping this is a launch game. I'm excited about this one.
Oh yeah, and it's one of the things I like about games like this is we play whatever you're playing. If I'm playing Gran Turismo, I'm always thinking about strategy and how people are driving and this, that, and the other. If we're playing COD, we're thinking about where's the enemy at, where can I drop this, kill streak, etc., etc. And in a game like this, it's just like, and it seems this way. You just go on balls to the wall, and it's a blast, and you're just giving it all you got. Whatever happens, happens. And I love having a game like that to play on days where I'm not feeling like putting in the mental energy that Red Dead Redemption takes.
Right. You just want to get on the game and just run into stuff.
Let's just destroy it. And
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what I want to know more about the game. I'm excited to learn about what happens when your character's outside of the car. That looks like a thing that you can do. And I want to know, like, is it individual or are we on teams, or is it like threes, or is it 12 cars with 3 teams of 4 and the last team standing wins, or whatever. I want to see kind of like what the objective is, because it almost looks like you're in an arena, but are you in a race? Like
Yeah.
that'll be fun to figure all that out.
Yeah, that's kind of the next things that we need to find out from them. And that is a good point because they did show the characters like outside of the car a lot in the trailer. So it stands to reason that you get knocked out of your car, or you can get in different cars, or whatever the case is. So
Yeah,
it'll be cool to see how that kind of ties into it. So
if your car explodes, you can still take out the opponent somehow.
Yeah,
whatever that means. Maybe you can jump on the car and try to pull them out. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. So the last exclusive game, first or second party that we were shown was Astro's Playroom, which is going to be a launch game that's going to be preloaded on all the PlayStation 5s. We saw all gameplay of this, and this is designed as a showcase for what the DualSense controller can do and how it functions and all the new features of it. So that'd be a cool little kind of built-in, packed-in game, just to see what the DualSense controller can do right out of the box.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'll probably delete it.
Well, here's the catch. It's probably not going to be deletable, because if you go on your PlayStation right now, there's a Playroom on there.
Oh, that's right.
Game on there now, which was kind of the same thing for the PlayStation 4. So I wish I could delete that as well, but you can't. And so I really don't like that. Hopefully they'll fix that. And the next section of our list here are third-party games that were at this reveal. So we saw GTA 5 that led off the show.
Yeah.
With a trailer, and it's coming out.
Yeah.
It's coming out on PS5 in 2021. When GTA Online launches on PS5, all PS5 owners will get to play it for free for 3 months. And it sounds like they're basically going to kind of remaster a little bit GTA 5 and relaunch it again. This is going to be the third console generation that this game has been on. It launched on PS3, was remastered for PS4, and now it's going to be remastered for PS5. But it's the best-selling video game and entertainment property ever. Music, movies, video games. Mm-hmm. It's GTA 5 at the top. So, What did you think about seeing GTA 5?
I get it, Rockstar. You just keep pumping money into them. I'm not getting anything out of it.
They're just going to keep milking that cow.
I get it. I'm over it. I beat it on the 3 and the 4. We played it online a bunch. It's ran its course for me. Nothing about that's going to make me play it again. I can't play online because everybody has hovering cars, and I just want to do the missions, and apparently you can't do that. So, whatever.
Yeah, that's my problem with it too.
Yeah. I love doing the heist in that game. It was a blast. Don't get me wrong, but how many times can I do that?
Yeah, that's my problem too. Is it'll probably look better. It might have a couple features, but I've already played the game twice, the single player, and the online is not enjoyable for me because
it's a bunch of griefers.
People just want to grief you, and you'll be in your car and they'll have a jet and they'll blow you up. Well, that's cool. Great. Thanks. I'm just trying to go take care of whatever business. Like, I don't have time to fool with that. So we also got to see Godfall, which is
Yeah,
a third person looter slasher is what they're calling it. And it sounds like it's going to be a launch game. They're saying holiday 2020. We got to see a gameplay trailer for that game. And I'll be honest, I was excited for this game
that was too.
before I saw this trailer, but after I saw this trailer, I think it looks pretty generic.
Yeah, and I thought, and this might have been my problem, but because I think a looter shooter, I immediately go to Destiny. So I was thinking like, oh, this will be cool. Like we'll get the clan together, we'll have a blast doing whatever we used to do on that. It'll be awesome. And then I watched the trailer and I was like, I felt like I was watching Anthem or something. Like it looks really cool, but it's just not going to work.
Yeah, I agree. It looks, like I said, it looks generic. It doesn't look like anything that we haven't seen before already in other games, and I think they're really just probably trying to push this game out at launch because any game that is in the launch window is going to have an audience because
Oh yeah,
I mean, people want exclusives and they want launch games. So we'll see about that one. I'm not sold on that one. I'm
yeah.
less
I'll wait.
interested in that one now than I was before.
I'll wait for the reviews, and then you never know. I mean, sometimes it surprises you.
Yeah. We also saw Ghostwire Tokyo from Bethesda, I believe, and it has a 2021 release date. We saw a trailer with some gameplay for that one,
Hmm.
and it's a first-person action game, kind of weird, some Japanese stuff going on there with the ghosts and all this anime-looking stuff. I was what I would call it. So I don't think it's necessarily for me,
Yeah.
but people were excited about it.
Hmm.
So it looks like they're um, the director on the game, and people are going to kill me for this, but I think the director on the game is a really big name in Japanese gaming. I think it might be the guy who created Resident Evil, but don't quote me on that. I'd have to look it up. So somebody will probably be like, "Oh, gee, these guys don't know anything."
Yeah.
Um, so we also saw Project Athea, if I think that's how you say that, and it has been given a 2023 launch date. So we're 3 years away from that one.
Yeah. Which means I'm gonna forget about it until 2022.
Correct, and they'll probably rename it, and it may never come out. But we got a trailer for that with some very limited gameplay elements in it. Looks like a third-person action kind of RPG game, like hack and slash or something. So
Yeah.
we don't really know. We'll have to see some more on that one. It looked pretty, but we'll have to see what kind of game it is and wait to hear more about that. Hitman 3 was a surprise announcement, and I
Yes.
think we're both pretty excited about that one. So
Yeah. My head exploded.
yeah, I wasn't expecting that one at all. So it's coming out January 2021 for PS4 and PS5. We only got a trailer for it. We did not get any gameplay. But this is going to be the final game in the current Hitman trilogy of games,
Hmm.
and that's an exciting one. That's shortly after launch, so it'll probably do well, and I'm excited about that one.
Yeah. I was. Hitman has a certain play style, the way you can move, and like we all know how dumb the AI is on Hitman sometimes, or how like you could remember how you could throw a briefcase and it would just follow a guy.
Yes, I love
I
those
love that.
videos. Yeah,
So that's one of the reasons that I love playing that game because it's so goofy sometimes. But the Hitman games I've always loved them. I've played every single one of them. So I'm stoked. It'll be a blast. And it looked different, like the way that 47 was climbing the building. He's up in the clouds in like Dubai or wherever he is. Um, I'm excited to see what they can do with the power of the PS5. Maybe we get to do some more interesting sort of stealth intros in this. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
it almost appeared like you could like come in. Maybe you came in like you parachuted in and landed. You're climbing the building here. I don't know. It just they can't. Like I don't know. I can't have it fast enough. I guess.
Well, you don't have to wait too much longer. So hopefully it'll stick with that January launch timeline. We also got to see a brief trailer for NBA 2K21. We know that it's going to be a launch game. It just said fall 2020, but we know it's going to launch on PS5. So we got to see a lot of sweat. There's going to be a lot of sweat on these guys for next gen. They're just going to be the sweatiest dudes ever. And that's really all we know about it so far.
Yeah, and then the two, I will say the rim and the net did look pretty cool when he dunked it, and I know that that's been a challenge for basketball game developers is getting the net to look realistic.
Yeah.
And the rim too, but again, it goes back to like, you know, when you're watching these cinematic trailers, they're called cinematic trailers for a reason. It's not necessarily the gameplay, and it took me an embarrassingly long amount of time to understand the correlation between movie and cinematic trailer there. But I mean, I don't know. Like, you showed me sweat and it got Duncan. I don't know. I was not really that impressed.
Yeah, we'll need to see actual gameplay. I mean, I'm gonna get the game because I play every NBA 2K game, but we'll need to see actual gameplay of the game to see what it really is like on the next gen consoles.
Yeah, and if they're going to actually fix like just weird things, like how difficult it is to do the off season on my league, or how difficult it is, or how silly the guys are you draft, where they'll be like 95 speed and 2 acceleration. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, you and I know very well because we play that game extensively throughout the year, every year. But it's just a buggy mess. I mean, it's June. Last year's game came out in September, and there's still just bugs all in the game.
Yeah, and it's not fun bugs like Bethesda.
Correct.
They're annoying bugs.
Yes, that's a great way to put it. We also got to see Deathloop, which is a really cool looking game. It's coming from Bethesda, and it's going to be holiday 2020, which sounds like a launch game. We got to see a trailer for it. We got to see a lot of gameplay. And this game is actually going to be a 1-year timed exclusive for the PS5, so that's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
What do you think about that game?
The thing I thought was the most cool was the timed exclusive. I just think that's an interesting way to do it. I don't know if that game is really something I'll be into, but I like seeing them do other weird things with games like times exclusives. I just like to see how it ends up.
Yeah, it looks like a fun. It's kind of another take on what Returnal is trying to do, as far as like you die and you repeat, you start over type of thing. So we may have 2 of those at the same time, but that's okay. That seems to be kind of a new, almost like a new subgenre in the
some lateral thinking there.
Yeah. We also saw a reveal for Resident Evil 8 Village coming out in 2021. We just got a trailer for it. The trailer was a really good-looking trailer, but the game looks terrifying, and I will not play it.
No, but I didn't realize it was Resident Evil till the end.
Yes.
And then they spelled out Village like 8, and I was like, gosh, these guys.
Yes.
How do they come up with this stuff?
Yes. So, Resident Evil 7 switched to this first-person view, which is what this one is probably going to stick with. And Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, I think is what it's called. People love the game. It's got good reviews, and it's kind of a reimagining or a re-envisioning of the franchise. So they're sticking with that for 8, and it looks cool, but it's not for me.
No, I quit playing those on PlayStation 2 when that humanoid thing crawled across the ground at me.
Yes.
I was like, all right, I'm good.
Yes.
I don't need to do this anymore.
Okay, I'm gonna head out. We saw a game from Capcom called Pragmata, I think is how they're pronouncing that, and it has a 2020 release date. All we saw was a trailer for it. It looked, at first I was like, oh, this is Death Stranding.
Yeah.
Because it's got the astronaut god, and he had a suit and a helmet shaped similar to Kojima production stuff. So I was like, what is this? And he has this tool, and he's got this cargo, and it just looked like a weird sci-fi game from Capcom. We really don't know what kind of game it is or anything about it. So it could be cool. We'll have to see a sci-fi game coming from them. Mm-hmm. We'll have to wait on that one. And
it had a little bit of the Division in it too.
You think so?
When I was watching it, I kept thinking it's Death Stranding in the Division, and then like he pulls up that little, like when you could pull up echoes in the Division, he pulls up that little thing he's looking at.
I forgot about that.
I don't know. Something about it made me think it was a baby of both, which it probably is not even close to either. But that's what I jumped to, so that's where it'll stay in my little brain.
Yeah, I forgot about that with the Echo thing. Totally forgot about that. So there's also several indie games that were present, which is interesting. Sony's going to kind of throw their cards into that again
Hmm.
this time around. So I'll just list these off. We won't necessarily talk about them. Bug Snacks, Goodbye Volcano High, Jet, The Far Shore, Kenna, Bridge of Spirits, Little Devil Inside, which actually did look cool to me, Oddworld,
Hmm.
Soulstorm, The Pathless, Stray, which is about a cat, and Solar Ash. So it's all those indies during this, and so there's going to be a bunch of indies around the launch window. It sounds like, and
Yeah,
um,
I thought
so
Oddworld looked really cool.
yeah, I've never played any of the Oddworld games. I know they have a really like cult following,
Hmm.
but I've never played any of those games, so I can't really
I haven't
say I'm
either.
excited. Yeah,
And the character's supposed to be kind of silly, isn't he?
yeah, yeah.
I
So
mean,
that's the entire list of games that were revealed, and that's a combination of first party, second party, third party, across the board for Sony for PS5 games that we got to see. Are there any games, or which games would you say that you're the most excited about out of the entire list?
well, I love Gran Turismo. I played every one of them, so definitely getting that. Plus, it's a sim race, so I got to have something to sim race to keep that going. I think Ratchet and Clank I'll end up with. Um, I want to see more about Returnal to make a final decision there. It looks like it's a really cool concept, so I'm into that. I'll definitely get Destruction All Stars based off of that trailer alone. I'm in. And then after that, I mean, it'll just kind of depend. I'll definitely get Hitman. And then all the rest of them, and probably NBA just because I like to play basketball games. But after that, it kind of just depends on reviews and trailers. And like Little Devil and Oddworld look cool. I do not understand what's happening on Stray. I don't get it. So I mean, I'm gonna be into learning about that game just because it's such an odd idea. You're just
Yeah,
a cat. Like I don't get it.
I don't think you're the only one confused by that one. So there's a lot of people excited about that game, but I don't even know what type of game it is. So I would need to know more
Exactly.
before I got excited about it. I'm most excited about Horizon Forbidden West. Obviously, that one's definitely for me. I'm excited about Spider Man. I'll pick up that game at launch. Uh, I will pick up Ratchet and Clank when it comes out. I think I'm excited about that one. I'm definitely going to get Returnal because it's Housemarque. I'm definitely going to get Destruction All Stars because that looks like a lot of fun. Um, I may go for Hitman when it comes out. I'll definitely get NBA because I'll play that every year, and I'm thinking I'm gonna get the Deathloop game. It kind of looks cool when it sounds like it's gonna be
Yeah,
a launch game. So
I can't fault you there.
yeah, I think I might try it out. It's just, there won't be a whole lot. So, but that's all the games that we got to see, and then of course toward the end of the showcase there we got a big surprise, and we got to see the box. They showed us the box, and which not many people expected. I don't think.
No.
Some people did predict it as kind of like the and one more thing, and that's basically what it was. And so the box is very unique. People are saying it looks like a Wi-Fi router, which I don't necessarily disagree, but it is a really unique design for Sony specifically. It's kind of got like this curved tower thing going on. It's white on black. So we're getting away from the black consoles and going to a more white console. Same with the DualSense controller. We did find out that there are going to be a number of accessories at launch. So there's going to be a controller charging station for the DualSense controllers. There's going to be a Pulse 3D audio headset. So I'm definitely picking that up.
Oh yeah.
There's going to be a media remote with voice controls, and then there's going to be a 1080p HD camera for streamers. So it's going to be a full suite of accessories, and they're all going to be aesthetically, that white on
Similar.
black
Yeah.
look. Yeah. So I'll probably definitely pick up an extra controller and the charging station and the headset is what I'm thinking right now. Those all look really cool. The 3D audio headset sounds really, really neat. I'm interested. in that and what they've done with that technology. And then kind of the last big thing that we found out about the consoles is there's going to be two versions. So there's going to be a console with a disc drive, and there's also going to be one without. They're calling the digital edition. So
Mm-hmm.
what did you think about that, and which edition or which version are you leaning towards for the console?
I'll probably get the digital. I just like that I can have it downloaded and ready to go at midnight. I don't have to go stand in line and drive back to the house. And did I read this right that Sony probably wants you to do the digital one because they get more money out of it?
Yeah, I think the idea there is that they get 30% off everything that they sell on the PlayStation Store. So if they can cut the GameStops and the Amazons and WalMarts out of it, and you have to buy all your games on the PS Store because you have no other choice, then yeah, they're gonna that's gonna drive up their income off revenue, or
Makes sense.
their revenue off game sales. So
Yeah, so
they have every incentive to push that digital edition.
yeah, so I mean, I'll probably end up with that. Not that I don't like discs. I love to have physical items of everything. I have lots of crap in the basement that I just have. But one thing I do like about the digital edition is if I want to switch games, I could just go click and I'm in it, and I don't have to get up and move the discs around and keep them stored somewhere, or worry about them getting scratched or whatever else.
Yeah, so I do think that I'm going to make the switch from physical to digital with the PS5. I'm going to get the digital edition, and I only have four physical PS4 games right now, and so I'm not a person that hangs on to them or collects games or anything like that. I will say that I am going to miss the ability to take my games when I'm done with them and trade them in and get some store credit somewhere, and then buy used games and put them in. But the more I thought about it, you know, when you look at the math of it, it probably is closer to a wash by the time you do. Because I buy plenty of digital games too, and by the time I do that, it's probably a wash with what I'm saving on pre-owned games or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the other big thing is that when you buy a game now, what's it do? It installs off the disc onto the console. So
Yeah,
it's not like you're, and then you still have to download the update. So it's not like you're saving yourself any time really.
yeah. I
So
mean, you might save a little bit of hard drive space.
yeah, and I do also like the idea of being able to pre-order a game and play it at midnight, and so I'm excited about it. And the other thing is that it just flat out looks better than the one with the disc. It just looks
It
clean. The
does.
console just looks cleaner, so
The other one has a bump in it.
it does. It's got a little baby bump, and I think it's obviously going to be cheaper than the disc version. I would say so.
Yeah, for
There's
sure.
there will be that incentive as well. That leads into the next point is what's your thoughts on pricing and release date for these consoles? What do you think they're going to cost, and when do you think they might release?
I mean, they're going to come out sometime before Black Friday, I would presume, that week or two before. Um, and I don't know. I mean, we've seen prices from $399 to 800s. I have no idea what they're going to do. But they need to do something that they make money so they can keep making games.
Right.
I don't want them to shortchange themselves, which I'm sure they're smart enough to do. They're a multinational company. They shouldn't be stupid like that. But my guess is the disk drive will be higher, obviously, because it has more hardware, but also because they don't want you to buy it. So um, that would, my initial thought was it'll be under 500 for the digital. Will be my guess.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be a $100 difference between the two because I don't think 50 is a big enough difference to incentivize people.
Yeah,
Like if you told me, I'm not gonna do this, I don't think, but if you told me, if I was on the fence and you're like, okay, I can pay $50 and have a 4K, UHD drive, I can just pay and I can play disc on it. Okay, I'll just pay $50 and get the disc one. Like,
yeah, you're paying
but
for the disk drive. Yeah,
yeah, but you say you get to that $100 mark, and that's when you really start getting people to think about, that's $100. That's okay, so maybe I will get the digital edition. So I think that even though these are kind of odd numbers, I think 450 for the digital and 550 for the disc is my prediction for the pricing. As far as release date, I think that November 13th maybe might be the date for PlayStation. I think they might want to get out before Xbox. There was this past week though a leak on Amazon France. It was a listing. I don't know if it was real or not, but it had a listing for PlayStation 5 with November 20th listed as the release date, which is the Friday before Thanksgiving, which would fit your timeline of they definitely want to get it out before Black Friday. So, but I feel like November 20th might be a little bit too close. So I don't know.
Yeah, I
We'll,
wondered that too.
yeah, we'll just have to see. We also got a couple of post PS5 reveal little news nuggets that I wanted to be sure that we mentioned. Number one is that PlayStation's Vice President of User Experience Design, Matt McLaurin, in an interview, I'm sorry, not in an interview, on his LinkedIn page, of all things, was answering comments, and he made a couple of interesting quotes. He said that, number one, that there would be a complete user interface overhaul from the PS4 to the PS5. So 100% totally different user interface from the 4 to the 5, which is exciting. That's cool.
Yeah.
And the other thing that he mentioned was that with the console design that we have now on the PS5, that they'll be able to do some of the most unique and coolest special edition consoles that they've ever been able to do. So like whenever they, like this, The Last of Us just came out this week, it had a special edition PS4 Pro, those sorts of things. So that'd be cool to see what they can do with those. Maybe there will be different LED color lights and things like that. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I didn't really understand what he meant by that, because when he says the design, I'm picturing like a 3D printed Spider-Man standing on top of the console. Like, I'm not picturing LEDs or different
Right,
screen prints.
right. So we'll have to see what he means by that. But it sounds cool. I'm really interested to see what they do with the UI. So hopefully it's streamlined a little bit. And the other little note here that we found out this week was that Gran Turismo 7 was going to use all of the PS5 features, including all of the new features in the DualSense controller. Shout out to the DualSense podcast. And so they gave some examples of how this would work, and we've heard some things like, oh, if you're shooting a bow, if you've got a really weighted draw, you'll feel that weight of the draw of the bow, or it might be loose or whatever. So we've heard those sorts of things, but as far as Gran Turismo 7 is concerned, you'll be able to feel the difference in the triggers of a stiff versus a loose gas or brake pedal. You'll be able, in the rumble, I guess, or the haptic feedback of the controller, be able to feel the different track materials, on the courses. So that sounds really cool. As a Gran Turismo guy, what did you think about how that sounds with the features? And I'll have to preface it with, I know that you're a real sim racer. You're not a fake sim racer. So you use a racing rig with a wheel and everything. So you will not play GT7 with the controller. But what do you think about that, though?
It does sound cool, and if you're a controller racer, that's awesome to have that. And it's the pedals are just like the stiff and loose pedals. Like, it's like your car. Like, if you go out, the brake's always stiffer than than the gas pedal. But they kind of, in past, Gran Turismo has had some rally tracks and rally cars, and they're not really great representations of rallying. I think if they got rid of those parts of the game, nobody would really complain. But them, and you don't see it in the trailer for the new game, but them saying different track materials does imply that that'll be another feature of this game. Or are they talking about when you hit the rumble strips, or you go off into the loose stuff, or you're into the sand? I'm kind of interested to see what that means. I will probably do some single player stuff with the controller just to see what that's like.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to, because that just sounds too cool to pass up totally without seeing what that's like.
Oh yeah.
And maybe Sony puts out its own first party proprietary racing wheel at some point where it has all these features in it. That'd be cool, like its own racing rig. That'd be pretty neat.
Yeah, because all you got right now is you have the force feedback in the wheel, and you can buy these very sophisticated $20,000 rigs that move, like when you're at those 3D movie theaters.
Yeah.
But I've been in those before, and it's still not the same as traveling in a real car. It's similar than just sitting in a chair that doesn't move, obviously, but
Yeah.
it's I don't even know how to explain it. A real car is more jolty.
Mm.
It's hard to get that right, but yeah, I mean, if Sony did that, it is a niche market. Don't get me wrong, but it would be very cool. There'd be some very interested people in that.
Yeah. So let's move on to our next segment, Travis, and take a look at upcoming game releases. And I don't know if I put this in your script or not, but we did get a list of upcoming games late this past week from Sony on the PlayStation blog. So I just wanted to run down those really quick and let you guys know what is new coming out this week, upcoming week. I'll just run through the list. Number 1, Assetto Corsa Competizione comes out on PS4 on June 23rd. Bounty Battle comes out on June 25th on the PS4 in the European Union only. Coaster comes out on PS4.
Which looks sick, by the way.
I might have to look this up. I didn't look this up.
Dude, it's like Roller Coaster Tycoon with 3D.
Okay, I did not know. I did not look any of these up, so I'm going
It's
to look
wild.
that up now. Coaster comes out on June 22nd in the Americas only. Conan Chop Chop comes out on June 23rd in the EU only. Covert comes out on June 23rd in the EU only. Firefighters Airport Heroes comes out June 24th in the Americas only. Hunting Simulator 2 comes out on June 25th in the EU. Jump Step Step comes out June 22nd in the EU. Indie Calypse comes out on the 26th in the Americas. Little Town Hero comes out on the 23rd in the Americas. Mad Runner comes out on the 23rd in the Americas. Octonaut comes out on the 23rd in the Americas and on the 24th in the EU. Pancake House, sounds delicious, comes out on the 23rd in the EU.
I tried to look that up, and all I found was the Pancake House. And
Like
Smoky Mountains.
literally the Pancake House, the restaurant.
I typed it in to pull up the restaurant. I was like, dude, I've been there. All right, cool game.
Cool game, guys. Powerumi comes out on the 24th in the EU. Party Pumper. That makes me laugh for some reason.
Yeah.
Body Bumper comes out June 25th in the EU. Pushy and Pulley in Blockland. What an awful name. God. Comes out the 24th in the Americas and the 26th in the EU. Rugby Challenge 4 comes out on the 24th in the EU. What about Australia? We gotta get those guys down under.
You think it would sell there?
Absolutely. SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. Jesus, guys, how many subtitles do we have to have? It comes out on June 23rd in the EU only. That's weird that it comes out only in the EU. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, which is a re-release, I would think, of an old PS1 or PS2 game.
It sounds, yeah.
It comes out on June 23rd. Super Toy Cars 2 comes out on June 26th. A Summer with the Shiba Inu.
Please look that up.
Did you look it up?
Yes, it's about a dog.
Okay.
That's a type of dog.
Let's just call it Stray. Comes out June 24th. Tower of Time comes out June 23rd in the Americas and June 24th in the EU. Ultra Core comes out June 23rd in the Americas and June 26th in the EU. And that is all for the upcoming game releases.
I will jump in.
Out to you there?
Yeah, I will jump in about Assetto Corsa. If you're looking at getting Assetto Corsa, just wait until they remaster it on PS5 because, for one, it's one of the most popular computer racing simulations, and it is a very, very good simulation. It's one of the best. The issue with it on the PS4 is you only get to play with 20 cars on track, which is silly. Because some of those, especially if you're doing an endurance race where you're racing 24 hours, there's 20 cars per class. There's like 3 classes, so you're looking at 60 cars, right? So you don't get the full experience of the PC game on that front, and also it's limited to 30 frames per second. So,
Ooh.
And that sucks ass for a racing game, and it sucks for any game really. And my question to the developers is, why not wait until the PS5 comes out when you'll have a system that can do everything that the computer does and you can put every feature on it? I don't understand that. But hey, it's only $40, so you got $40 to burn and you want to play a simulation, go for it, I guess. But I would wait until it's remastered. I wouldn't touch it.
Probably need to wait just based on those 30 frames per second alone.
Yeah, I don't want to crash your PS4.
Travis, our third and final segment is going to start off with questions, comments, and concerns. So hopefully, eventually, when we have an audience, we'll take some questions or some comments that we can discuss. But this week, I have a couple of questions for you that we need to discuss. First of all, have you heard of the COVID-19 toilet plume? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I read a couple articles about it,
Are you concerned
and
about it?
I will say that I've been incredibly grossed out by toilet plumes for most of my life, and I did not know they were called that. I think they're awful. Also hate the spray bag that you get at a urinal. If you're a male, you know exactly what I mean. Both of those things suck. I don't understand why you can't make something that doesn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Am I concerned about it? Well, I guess you kind of have to be, don't you?
Well, as a germaphobe, I'm big time concerned about it. But like you, I've always thought that the toilet plume was nasty because you take a dump, you flush the toilet, you're splashing poop around. You got to be blowing the fecal matter in the air. Like, so I think the logical explanation here and the logical solution is when you're pooping, you just hold your breath and you just better hope that you get done before you pass out.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, or just don't poop.
Yeah, just don't poop. And you'll be fine either way.
And we do know, both of us know, that everything in the bathroom is covered in fecal matter somehow.
Yes, and that terrifies me. It's
So, and
so
then this is
disgusting.
just making it worse. What about other diseases though? What about everything else you get? Is the flu in there? Is what I don't know. What is hepatitis C in there?
They literally recommended that you shut the toilet seat before you flush it. Well, that's great, but I've never been to a public place that has a toilet seat. Or I'm sorry, a toilet, not a toilet seat. Jeez. Yeah, I've never been to a public place that has a toilet seat.
Yeah,
No, I've never been to a public place that has a lid on the toilet. Like it's just a seat.
that's a
Like
good point.
you can't close it. Like you're just wearing that. Like you're just wearing the toilet plume every time. The second question I wanted to ask you was the Mayan calendar 8 years off based on how 2020 has gone so far, what we know about it?
Well, on one hand, that would be terrible news for the podcast.
It would. We're just getting started here.
On the other hand, would it be so bad?
I love hearing about these asteroids that are, they're headed for Earth, or it could pass by pretty closely, or it could be on trajectory. And then you'll see these articles that say, "Oh, we're 50 years away from an asteroid that might be headed straight for Earth." Like that's too long to wait, guys. Let's go.
Yeah, like, yeah. If it hits the keyhole, it'll be back in 200 years. Like, I mean, just hit us now. Like,
Well, let me take that back. We need to get PS5 first, and then it can happen.
yeah, let me see what this haptic feedback's about, and then we'll worry about the
That
rest.
might change our whole outlook. It might fix the world. So that's pretty much it for this week. Let's kind of wrap it up here with just talking about what do you have coming up in your week of video games ahead? Do you have any races that you're going to race in? Or are you chasing any milestones or trophies, or are you trying to get anything done in a game, or are you just kind of playing this week?
Well, we're in the middle of the Nations Cup and the Manufacturers Cup on GT Sport. So tonight is at Spa, which is one of the most famous tracks in the world. If you look it up, it's in France, and you probably don't know what it is until you see it. It has a lot of red and yellow on the side. It's kind of hard to not recognize it once you see the track. And there's a race every 4 days, so there's another one on the 24th. But we'll see if I actually end up doing those. I haven't practiced for either of those races, and it's kind of irresponsible to jump in on something like that without practice, especially when people are trying to get to the level where they can win money. I'm still on 0 platinum trophies, but I did see that I have 857 trophies, and that blew my mind.
That's quite a bit, but we got to get you to real gamer status. We got to get you a platinum trophy.
I just don't think I'm ever going to do it.
You're really close on the division, both of them probably.
I am like 90% on both of them.
Yeah, that's not going to cut it. We gotta pop your cherry.
Yeah, and my goal this week, I want to get the Vector on COD. I picked it up off a dead guy the other day, and it was unbelievable. It doesn't move.
That's a great goal. I'm so glad you said that. So I'm going to make that one of my goals this week too, is to unlock the Vector on Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I also am looking forward to playing more of The Last of Us Part 2. Hoping to make some headway into that. And since it's such a long game, I got to make some progress. But I'm not going to rush it. I am also going to take my time with it and enjoy it. So I haven't been running in the game really. I've just been walking. So just trying to soak it all in. Because also the other part of that is that I don't want to be surprised by anything jumping out at me. So not totally.
Yeah, take it slow.
Yeah. So and then I'm sure that we'll probably play some more Dying Light with the boys this week. Co-op. We're a little over halfway done with the story on that. So we'll be wrapping that up soon.
Yeah,
Probably. And there is the expansive stuff that we'll have to get to because you can ride dune buggies and stuff on that. And that sounds awesome.
yeah, that would
And
be amazing.
yeah, so we got to do that for sure. And we'll probably mix in some NHL threes eliminator, I would say, and
Yeah,
continue just getting pummeled on that or coming in, barely missing out on the championship. So
yeah, really good at not scoring all of the multiplier goals. We
every
we
time,
get we get every other goal, but when the multiplier comes up, immediately lose it.
yeah, we just crap the bed. That's perfect. All right, well, I think that's going to do it for episode 1 of the Dual Sense podcast. Thank you, Travis, for joining me for the podcast, and thank you guys for listening. We hope that we didn't blow it, and you'll come back next week for episode 2.
See you next time.